Hello, Tarot friends, and special shout out and very warm welcome to Yoga of Tarot students. Welcome to this video tutorial on the French Cross, or Tirage en Croix. This is a historic spread using the major arcana only. So for tarot beginners, this is a wonderful way to really focus on reading the major arcana. A lot of beginners mentioned to me that they struggle learning to read with the majors. So this spread, being a majors only spread, really helps focus and gives just awesome practice on reading with the majors. And for advanced readers, I've been reading for 46 years, and Tirage en Croix is absolutely one of my all-time favorite go-to spreads. I use it for clients and I use it reading for myself. It's just a really great spread, and it's been around for 100+ years, so it's withstood the test of time. If you're new here, welcome to Anastasia Tarot and Vedic Astrology channel, where we navigate the cosmic currents in search of the treasures of divine wisdom, one tarot card at a time. So let's get into the tutorial. First, we'll start with a little history and background of this spread, because it really does have a fascinating history. And then we'll get into the actual step-by-step tutorial so you can learn this spread by doing it right along with me. The first thing you're going to want to do is get the 22 Triumphi cards or Major Arcana cards. Separate those out of your deck if you haven't already done so, and you can pause me, I'll wait. Now, this spread, because it comes from the French cartomancy tradition, normally it would be done with Tarot de Marseille deck. That is the most traditional deck for French cartomancy. But you can really do it with any deck as long as it has major arcana. And I'm going to use this Il Menegiello Italian deck because it's a majors only deck. So I'll be using that deck, but do keep in mind that Tarot de Marseille is the most traditional deck to use with this spread. However, you can use any deck that you have. The first thing to know about French cross is the name Tirage en Croix means throw a cross in French. And there are a lot of different spreads that are called Tirage en Croix in this rich history of French cartomancy. So we're learning one version of Tirage en Croix. There are many. The version we're learning is from the Swiss occultist Oswald Wirth. He published this version of the French cross in 1926, but Wirth himself learned it from a French occultist called Joséphin Péladan. So this spread is easily over 100 years old, and it has really withstood the test of time. It's a great spread. One thing to know about these old cartomancy spreads, and French cross is no exception, is that you have to have a question. This spread is meant to answer a question. So it excels if you have a practical sort of day-to-day mundane concern that you have a question about, but it's also really good for more introspective, spiritual type of exploration. But you do have to have a question, because the cards are answering your question. The spread is meant to answer your question. So the unique feature of this spread that I just love is that you're kind of role-playing. You get into the vibe of arguing a court case in the court of your mind. So that may sound a little strange at first, but stick with me, we'll get into it. I'm going to go through the cards one by one as an introduction to kind of help you get in the mood for this arguing the case in the court of your mind. And then we'll get into the step-by-step tutorial where you can actually pull cards along with me and really learn how to read this spread. But just to kind of get into the role-playing aspect of it, the first card is the argument for. It's the pro argument. So this would represent the path of least resistance, the road that's open to you, the path that's inviting you. The second card is contra. This is the argument against your question. This could represent the path that has obstacles, resistance, limitations, the road that's closed to you. The third card is the discussion, where the pro and the contra sides each present their case, and there's a discussion between the two sides. The fourth card is the judgment. So after we've heard the pro and the contra and we've discussed both aspects, now the fourth card is the judgment, which you could think of in a way as the advice. And then the fifth card is the synthesis. It's the card that pulls together the whole spread into a unified whole. And there are two ways of getting this fifth card. So the first way is, you just shuffle and deal, and the fifth card, you lay that fifth card the same way you lay all the other cards. The second way is that you shuffle and deal and you put the cards 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you take and you add up the numbers from the cards 1 through 4, and you get that fifth card from numerology. So this will all make sense when we go through it in the step-by-step. You can see exactly how to do it. So let's get into this Tarot spread tutorial on the French cross. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do in the step-by-step French cross is, of course, you've got your 22 triomphi or major arcana, and shuffle them thinking about your question. I'm going to use the question, should I stay or should I go? This is not only a really good song by The Clash, it is also a question a lot of clients have. It could be, should I stay with this relationship or should I go? Should I stay with this job or should I go? Should I stay in this living situation or should I go? So think about your question while you're shuffling. And since most of us are reading for ourselves, we're just going to pick the cards, just pick the cards in your normal way. But the traditional method that I learned, which I am going to teach you just in case, it assumes that you're reading for a client. And so what you would do is you would ask that person, pick a number between 1 and 22. Say that person picks 5. Then you would count down 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you take the fifth card and lay that. And then say the person pick a number between 1 and 21. And let's say the person picks 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you would take the seventh card. So that is the traditional method, but since most of you are probably reading for yourselves, especially if you're doing the tutorial with me, so let's just go ahead and, pick cards in your normal way. For the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to just pull cards off the top. And card number 1, the way that's open, the argument for your question. Card number 2, the way that's closed, the argument against your question. Card 3 is the discussion. And card 4, the Judgment. And card 5, the Synthesis. So the way that's open, or the argument in favor, this is the Emperor. This is a man who's an authority. If your question had something to do about your family life, Emperor is very often a father. However, in business, it could be someone with authority. If you're in business for yourself, or if this is a more inner-directed question, the Emperor is your own personal authority. And so especially if there's not a male authority or a father involved in your question, we're going to read this Emperor as your own personal authority. And part of that has to do with this relationship. The way that's open is the Emperor. The way that's closed is la mort, death. And Emperor is 4, death is 13. So there's a numeric yoga between those two cards. 1 and 13, 1 and 3 equals 4. So the arguments for and against are related to each other. With death in the way that's closed, or the argument against, this suggests that making a cut, that ending things, this is not the time to end things. However, this Emperor is definitely suggesting some authority needs to be involved, whether that's yours or a male authority. Now, going up to the discussion, the Sun is a benefic card, and the Sun, in this case, it could be a contract, for example, a social contract, if this is about relationships, or if the should I stay, should I go has more to do with, business transaction, real estate transaction, something like that. The idea with this Sun card is that there's a generally benefic vibe here, it's not necessarily the time to end things, to kill the connection, because there is some benefit. People are honoring contracts, or there is some kind of contract, again, whether it's a social contract or a business contract. The Sun, there aren't really any negative cards here. So this is contracts being honored, which kind of supports this idea. Not really time to leave. The Judgment, La Justicia, that's funny. I love it when Tarot has a sense of humor like this. Oh my goodness. So the Judgment is to be just. The karmas must be balanced. The energies must be balanced. The fact that you're even asking, should I stay, should I go, right, that means something has probably gone amiss. However, the cards are saying here, no, not really the time to kill the connection. There is a contract that's worth honoring. However, you've got to keep either your own personal authority, or there's some male authority who can help sort things out. But very important to maintain La Justicia, this maintain a sense of balance and justice in the situation. As a synthesis card, La Carrozza here, the Chariot, emphasizes the message that we see from Emperor Justicia Il Sol. Chariot is driving his chariot on the road, and he's not going to let other people deviate him off his path, or her, So the Chariot has to do with, yes, stay with the situation. Now is not the time to kill the connection. However, honor contracts. Expect other people to honor their contracts, and you also honoring your contracts, again, whether they're social or financial business contracts. Personal authority, whether it's your own inner authority or whether it's an external authority, that is the way that's open. That is what's going to set the situation right, so that the La Justicia here, so that the karma is equally balanced and it's a balanced and equitable situation. And stay on your path. Don't let anyone deviate you off your path. Okay, so that is reading by method 1. We simply laid 5 cards. Now, we're going to try bonus method 2, which is where we select the final card by numerology. So we're going to start with a new spread. Again, we'll keep the same question, should I stay or should I go? But we're going to select the last card using numerology. The argument for, the argument against, the discussion, the judgment. Now we're going to add up 11 plus 12 plus 17 plus 16. And when you add those cards together, we get the number 56. Now, we're looking for a number between 1 and 22, right? Because there are 22 major arcana. In this case, Fool would be considered as 22. But since 56 is bigger than 22, we're going to add up 5 plus 6, and that equals 11. And oh my goodness, 11 is already here. I love it when that happens. It doesn't always happen, you know, sometimes it happens. Like, for example, if the numbers had added up to 14, say, we would have had temperance in the middle. But let's go ahead and read the spread as it fell. So in this case, we're going to pay a special attention to La Forza because we got a repetition yoga there. The cards are really hitting us over the head that this card is, in fact, the power card here. So the way that's open, strength. And in this case, in this image of strength, you know, it's the lady with the infinity sign, you know, hat, and she's subduing this lion. This relates to the Indian goddess Durga. This is a protective kind of spiritual strength. And it also, you know, you've got spirits on your side, whether they're ancestors, angels, devas, Durga. This is some spiritual energy on your side. So La Forza, the imagery of the lady with the lion, really evokes a spiritual strength. Now, this is very interesting, the star in the way that's closed, because the star is such a wonderful, benefic, healing card. But this is saying there's no way to heal this relationship. This is star, although it's this beautiful, benefic, healing card, it's in the way that's closed. So the relationship cannot heal at this time. This is the argument against. And the argument, or the discussion here, La Torre, the tower, could be very upsetting, like realizing that there's no healing the relationship or, again, the situation. It could be a business situation, but it looks like there's no way to heal that situation at the moment. And that this is experienced really as quite a loss, quite an upset. You know, La Torre, it inspires fear, let's face it. You know, with this card, there are fears coming up around the idea that this relationship can't be healed at the moment. And the judgment being Hanged Man here, very interesting card to get here and a little bit difficult to read because the old school meaning of this card, this Hangman card, is betrayal, a traitor. That's why he's been hung up like this. It relates to Judas Iscariot in the Bible. The other way, more modern way of reading Hangman is like delays, hang-ups. So in the context of this read, in the question, should I stay or should I go? It looks like the Hangman here is really saying, first of all, stay still. There's not a lot of movement with the Hanged Man, obviously. The relationship can't be healed. It could be that there was a past betrayal, and this relationship, at least now, is not the time. No matter how much fear that inspires, this is not the time to heal this relationship, especially if there was a betrayal there. With this double emphasis on La Forza, because she's not only here in the way that's open, but she would fall here too. Okay, so I borrowed another strength card from my Marseille deck just to illustrate how much this card is the key. And again, normally you would really be looking at this card as you saw in our previous spread. We really read this card as more of the advice. In this particular way this spread is working out, because this is making a numeric yoga, we're taking this card. So what we have here is a very strong message that now is the time to lean into your spiritual strength. You have spiritual help, whether it's angels, ancestors, whatever that is for you. There's a lot of fear associated with understanding that reparation or healing of the relationship is impossible at this moment. That way is closed. And there's, fear and maybe some shocked feelings, but definitely some fear around that. Could be a past betrayal, but there's just no way to move this situation from what it is. And the best thing you can do is lean into this spiritual strength and understanding that you have spiritual support to get through this tower type of experience that you're having with this. So all in all, in spite of this being a difficult spread, we have malefic cards with the Hangman and the Tower. There's no way to sugarcoat those. Those are malefic cards. However, with the Star, which is benefic, even though it showed up in the way that's closed, there are these benefic cards. And then the numeric yoga that's created by both dealing the strength card and then getting it through numerology. That's actually a really kind of nice affirmation or pat on the back from the universe. Yeah, you're going through this fear and shock, and now is not the time to heal the relationship. However, the universe has got your back on this one. There's spiritual help from your own spiritual practices and from whatever benevolent energies surround you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this French cross tutorial. And please let me know in the comments your experiences using the French cross, if you're enjoying the spread, if you have any questions about the spread, happy to answer your questions. And please also let me know in the comments other videos that you might like to see. This is a new channel and it is growing and evolving. And please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It helps the channel grow, and all hail the mighty algorithm. It helps make this content visible to other people who might enjoy it. Thank you so much, and may you enjoy the blessings of good health, peace, prosperity, and wisdom, whatever spread and whatever deck you're using.